I managed to tackle my battles, my challenges, and I hope this also kind of allows you to probably have a perspective in your life as well. So yes, I've been a psychologist and a mountaineer and an athlete and a cyclist. So for me, sports and education were always balanced, and I never believed in compromising on any one of them for that matter. So in fact, even when I actually started my career with the computer science and I went to the mountains, and when I came back, I had a reflection stating that, hey, why should I actually study computer science? Because I was just doing it because I wanted to become a pilot. That was my childhood dream. But as I grew, I realized that trigonometry and physics is not something that I loved. So that's when I had all these reflection when I went to the mountains. So I'm going to quickly run through some slides, some images, some of my stories, thinking that you also get your motivation, because we all have that one inner voice sometimes, which kind of puts us in self-doubt. And I'm sure that we do not need that voice anymore, because we should become convincing ourselves what our dreams are. And here, this was my dream. So when I was 8 years old, and I read this chapter about Mount Everest, which was by Bachendri Pal. And this chapter, in fact, changed so many things in my life, because the struggles they had, the difficulties they had, and everything that they had in their life with less number of resources, the gear that they had, and with an injury, she actually climbed the mountain, was something very inspiring for me. And as a kid, when I was 8 years old, I decided that even I want to climb the mountain when I grew up. And very less did I know that as I grew up, I didn't really know that mountains are really to be climbed. I had just forgotten about this. But then one day in a newspaper, I read about one of the climber who climbed the mountain. And she suggested that, when I got in touch with her, she suggested, yes, it could be climbed, you could do this, that. And the major challenge of that was the financial aid to climb the mountain, because it costs you 30 lakh Indian rupees for every attempt of Mount Everest.
Oh,
And
wow.
being a girl from a middle class family, it is definitely a very difficult, or it's even a mammoth task to think about climbing mountain, because for us, even a lakh used to be a challenge. So the first contribution, because I was running here and there for sponsorship, I was a national athlete then. And even after running here and there for sponsorship, there was hardly anything that I had got. And then my angels in my life, my grandmom in the first image and my mother in the second image, they both sold all their gold jewelries to send me to the mountain. That's when they decided that instead of saving it for my marriage, they would rather prefer using it for my passion. And this was a major turning point. So when they did this, of course, we got a, let's say we got a contribution of about, not contribution, we had funds about 10 lakhs when my mom and grandmom took this step. We were still short of 20 lakhs. And with seeing all my running around here, there was one article of mine that came in Maharashtra's newspaper, which went to every nooks and corners of the state. And that's when I started receiving small contributions, which actually could make me fulfill these 30 lakhs. And these contributions, when I say small, it also means that I've received contributions worth 11 rupees, 51 rupees, 101 rupees, with a note saying that, hey, this is my monthly income, but I want you to achieve your dreams. So there were like more than 10,000 strangers who were part of this journey now, and it was not just me. So some lessons that I learned from my life was from my grandmom. She always taught me to be bold. I was always that little girl who would probably be quiet, sitting in a corner. If somebody's saying, I would just listen to it. That is how I was. But she taught me to be bold. My mother always put me in situations where I would face humiliation, and she enjoyed it. Like for example, when I was in a whenever I was going for any athletics meetup, if my age group was around under 14, she would always register me for under 16 or under 18 or opens category. So every time, all these tall girls who were above my age category used to finish the race, and like a duck, I used to be the one running behind. And I used to feel very humiliated, but she used to just sit outside and laugh about it. And I realized that her perspective to make this experience for me was so that I become shameless in life, and I do not really care or worry of what people would think in my life. So that is what came from my mother. And the third is my degree college vice principal, Dr. KP Sundari, who always taught me to accept things and confront. And these three important lessons that I got from each of these three powerful ladies is what made me today. And I will narrate my experiences ahead of how all these three experiences also came forward. So finally, 30 lakhs were generated, and that's when my journey in Nepal started with small steps. And yeah, it's a little slow over here. But as my journey started, I knew that it was not just me who was trekking or hiking or climbing. It was me with hopes and aspirations of those 10,000 people who supported me unconditionally without any expectation back. And as my journey started, of course, I was very slow because when you go on mountains, you have to get acclimatized. But my Sherpa really made something very interesting for me. As we used to go higher altitude, where we generally tend to slow down because our body is not used to that altitude, it's not used to that thin air, it's not used to that air pressure that we're living in, it is not used to the oxygen supply, that it is less. So with all these difficulties, when I started hiking, my Sherpa used to make me run. So where it was difficult to probably even walk, he ensured that I start running over there, because that is how I will be getting stronger and stronger day by day. And with this, finally, when my journey started, I knew that with every step that I'm moving forward with, I am going successfully towards my goal. So this was the beautiful journey, the 10 days trek that started to Everest Base Camp. And as we started hiking over here, it was always very breathtaking views that we had. As you can see behind the snow mountain that is there, that is Mount Pumori. It's one of the toughest mountain than Everest to be climbed, because of the nature that it is in. If you see, it's like a complete triangle, so it has a lot of ridges. And at the base over here, what you can see is Labuche Base Camp. That is where we stay. So every time we hiked, of course, we knew that every day we had a different home, a different camp to set up. And of course, the luggage that you see with me is not my climbing gear, that's just my trekking backpack, because the overall luggage, or let's say the gear that I had for the mountain, was about 80 kgs, which was double my weight. So when I said the lessons that I learned to appreciate, embrace, and move on. So especially whenever I used to go to base camp. So yes, before that, when I went to Everest base camp, in fact, when I went to climb Everest, I did not have any mountaineering experience. I had zero experience about mountaineering. But yes, I was really fit. I trained enough to climb the mountain. I did a lot of uphills. I did not have any certifications. A lot of fellow climbers whom I looked forward as an inspiration. When I spoke to them to get guidance, the only thing that I got from them was demotivation, saying that, hey, you're so small, you cannot do it. So I'm 5 feet 2 inches, and you're so small, you cannot do it. How could you even think of it? You don't even have money. Look at your build, you're just so athletic, you're not healthy. And all those kind of demotivation that I got only probably pushed me higher. So that's when my lessons from my mom and my grandmom came forward. So when this journey started, as a girl from Mumbai, I had never seen snow in my life. And as I reached base camp, the very next day it started snowing. So when it starts snowing, it gets really chilled in the night, because the temperatures where we probably climb differ from plus 30 to minus 30 throughout the day. The days are very hot, though it is cold because we are more closer to the sun. The UV rays content is also very harsh, so we generally tend to burn our skins. And the nights are very cold, so it's almost 70-degree of variation that we go through the entire day. And when it snowed, everybody got used to get into their tent and probably just sit there to probably get some warmth. But for me, it used to be different. I used to come outside the tent, enjoy the snow, sometimes probably make snowballs and start throwing on others' tent, start getting them out. And that's when I realized that when you see as any problem, when you look at any problem as a problem, it will be a problem for you. But when you appreciate it and just accept it and embrace it the way it is, you just intend to enjoy it and you move on with it. These were about our survivals. In the first image, you can see we had to walk kilometers. So ideally, all this was done by the Sherpas, because we pay the agency 30 lakh rupees. It is the Sherpas who will be doing all this for us. And That was not the case with me, because when I went there, I didn't want to be somebody with privileges on the mountain. So I started living more with my Sherpas. My Sherpa couldn't speak Hindi or English. So I learned Nepali by asking the other Sherpas and talking to him the language. So there was so much learning that I had over there. And yes, with the basic survivals, in this first image at the bottom that you can see is all the food supply that I had for the next 3 months. So we have to use the resources very carefully. And with all these resources, the blue tubs that you can see is where we used to start putting all our resources inside, dig the ground because the ground is cold, and cover it. So that's the natural refrigeration that we tried. And yes, of course, to even like visit another tent, sometimes you have to walk for like half an hour, though it is like just 500 or 400 meters away from you, but you need at least half an hour to cover it. So stepping out of the entire luxury comfort zone, because here even if we want to just go for like 2 kilometers ahead, we'll probably get our bikes, our cars, an auto. And the lifestyle what we are in is making us so lazy and lethargic, but the lifestyle there, I realized, is just making me so active. And I came back from the mountain also, it was difficult for me, it was a struggle for me to sit idle. So yes, so always let's remember that it is persistence that we need, but every story has some challenges. Because I was climbing very fast, my body ran out of oxygen, my O2 dropped to 30%. I had lost my memory. One fine day when I get up out of my tent at Camp 2, I start walking like a drunkard. I had lost my balance. My speech was slurred. People started asking me questions like, "Hey Bhagya, what is your name?" So I was like, I thought I always answered, but when I saw a fellow friend of mine taking a video, and when I saw the video later, what I answered was because it ideally when your body runs out of oxygen, when your brain starts freezing, it is your speech and your balance that gets affected the most. And the very next step said is to be that. But my Sherpa, my Au Papa, that is my fatherly uncle, he just did not give up on me. He immediately put me on artificial oxygen, and then he made me drink hot tea, hot chocolate, hot coffee, tracked me inside the tent. And finally, after 4 hours, I recovered. I couldn't even remember my parents' name. So I had to lower down the altitude, came back the altitude, got fine in 4 days, and again started climbing. And Jaisa Des Vaisa Bhes is what we say. So wherever I used to be in the mountain, I mentioned I used to be with the Sherpas, because as a client, when you pay 30 lakhs, you'll even get pizza at the base camp because the chefs will probably bake it for you over there. We have the camps set up at the base camp and Camp 2 where our kitchen is set up, and we have people who are there to cook for us. But with the Sherpas, I started following their diet. Sometimes just boiled potatoes, or sometimes dal bhat and probably some curries with them. And that actually made me much more stronger, because I realized the amount of carbs that I had started consuming, because on mountain, even sitting at a place, you start burning your calories. So when I went to Everest to climb, with all the muscle gain that I had during my training, I've managed to probably put on till 54 kgs. When I came back after 3 months, I was 36 kgs. All this with just the climbing and nothing else. And finally, my journey had come to an end on the Nepalese side. But yes, I could climb till 8,000 meters. But some of the beautiful glimpses over here where it's all about risk, but it's also very beautiful. And if you are probably getting something very easily in life, you may probably not know its worth. So it's okay to have a little risk to know the beauty of it. So on the left, what you can see is Kumbhu Icefall, which is also known as popcorn. So Kumbho Icefall is the most riskiest part of Mount Everest, because as you can see, that's me, the tiny little me, and you can see the ice blocks are much 10 times bigger than me as well. And they keep falling and rolling all the time. And what is there between these ice falls is on the right, what you can see, hidden crevices. So these crevices actually are 2-3 kilometers deep, and it is really challenging sometimes, because if you fall inside, you would probably not come out. And I almost encountered a near death experience there. But this avalanche, the Kumbho Icefall, in fact, has a lot of avalanches. Avalanches is just like the landslide what we have with land, like that it is here on the mountains with snow. And that in fact makes it very difficult and very challenging, because Just give me a minute. I think there's a little disturbance here in the background. I should just sign up WhatsApp. Yeah, so Kumbu Icefall being the most difficult part and the most probably challenging part, it is always necessary to probably for us to see how lucky we are. That's why we start climbing Kumbu Icefall in the night. Because when we climb it in the night, that's when the ice does not melt. During the daytime, it is the most riskiest part. And finally, this was the end of my journey. I did attempt to climb Mount Everest. I missed the summit by 800 meters, but I did try to climb the next time as well from the Chinese side. But again, the weather went very bad. And I guess the mountain wants me to come back again and again. So it was a story of my failure, but so many things to learn from it. And every story has a climax. So my story also had a climax. After this climb, when I came back to Mumbai, I was playing rugby at Bombay Gymkhana. And that's where I got tackled, and my right knee ligament tore off completely, snapping out my medial meniscus. And I knew that as an athlete, my career is not going to be same. My life is not going to be same. My sports career, I may probably have more challenges to come back. And instead of crying about it, I again started celebrating it, because crying about it is not going to help me. It's not going to put my ligament back. It's not going to put any of my muscles or tendons back. So that's when I decided that, okay, fine, let me just move ahead with it. So this was my injury part. In fact, when I had this injury, I did celebrate the entire injury by cutting a cake with my surgeons, saying that, yay, it's my first surgery. And they were like, why are you so happy about it? And I told them, why should I be sad about it? Because there's nothing that I could do about it. And in fact, the third image on the first line that you can see. So because I was always so lively and happy even about my surgery, and people started calling me crazy, these nurses enjoyed my company. And they said that in this entire hospital where everybody is just sad about their health, you're the only one we are seeing with a broken leg who was so happy. And that made them visit my cabin every time, and we had so much fun. In fact, I was famous in the hospital, you could say. And even my doctors, every time they used to come. So generally, whenever in my family at least, if somebody falls sick, it's a culture that we would stay with them in the hospital. But in my case, I told my mom, dad, grandmom, like, please stay home, let me have my me time, I'm fine. Like, I don't want to bother anyone, because now that this has happened, with anybody's presence, it's not that I'm going to feel better or something. So my mom religiously used to come every morning just to see me for 5 minutes with my grandmom, probably load me with a lot of chocolates, and then leave for the day. And my friends also, one thing about me is I generally do not like, especially during exams and during my health related crisis, anybody asking me, did you finish studying? Or how are you? How is your health? Because we have standardized answers saying yes or yes, I'm fine. So these are the questions that I generally tend to avoid of saying, how are you? Because even when somebody is not fine, they always land up telling you that I am fine, because we are so much accustomed to giving that traditional answer. So my friends never asked me, how are you? But yes, they did call me to entertain me. They did video call me to probably crack some stupid jokes for which I had to like laugh all the time. But it was the most turning point, this injury. Probably had this injury had not happened, it would have been very challenging for me. When this injury happened, even 2 years after my surgery, I was not fit to run. And it was getting very frustrating for me now. Because for an athlete, if you're not able to run, it's like you are not able to walk for a common person. So it got very frustrating for me. I kept going to the doctor, because whenever I used to run, my knee probably had a lag. It did not have stability. It used to pain more. And doctor just told me, Bhagya, no, you're not fit to run. And that's when I thought, okay, all this while I'm only focusing on the doctor's words of what I'm not allowed to do. He never said that I'm not fit to cycle. So that's when I thought to open out of the box, and I decided to cycle without even letting my doctors know. So opportunities don't happen, we create them. And we could only do that with all utmost focus and determination. So with this, I started to bicycle across the country. My idea was to visit government schools across the nation. And because I had a broken leg, polio is one of the disease, not disease, is one of the condition rather, I would say, where the muscles degenerate and people are crippled for the life. So my idea was to visit the government schools, create awareness about the end polio campaign that the India is running. Though India is a polio-free country, it's important that we all continue to take vaccination for our new ones. And again, for literacy and cleanliness and hygiene, with these mottos, I started cycling across the country on 2nd of October 2017 from Palampur in Himachal Pradesh. And of course, the doctors were not aware about it because I had not been for my checkup also. And for me, all my physios, all my orthopedic surgeons are all my good friends now, because I don't really believe in having that hierarchy of doctor and patient. It's more of friends. I call them anytime, okay, I have this pain, what do I do? That is how it goes. So when this journey started, there were so many lessons to learn from it. 2nd of October, where it is national holiday for most of the businesses and where we feel so happy about it, these children were studying in the school. When we asked teachers saying that, hey, it's national holiday, why would they still be in school? That's when they said that the parents of these children want them to do something more productive when it's birthday of father of the nation, rather than them sitting home and doing nothing. And that was a determination that these kids also had. And the awareness level, imagine in certain places, is so poor that in fact on my bicycle you can see there's this blue water bottle. Some of them thought that it is the fuel tank for the cycle, and this came from the teachers. So imagine what kind of awareness we have. So it's important that, of course, we cannot expect all the rural cities or the rural population to come out to the city to know more about the world, but sometimes it's better and it's good for us being more responsible citizens to visit such villages or such small towns. And because that interaction, exposure and exchange allows us also to grow and allows them also to grow. This was in Dhanushkodi, in Tamil Nadu, a small town which I'm sure you all would have heard of, probably the nearest point to Sri Lanka, is what is said. In fact, when we were cycling, these three kids were running behind a bicycle, and we offered them money, we offered them food. That is not what they wanted. All what they wanted was a little respect. And the shawls that were given to us by all the people who welcomed us throughout this journey, we put them on with respect, and they were so happy. The guy in yellow made us take this picture saying that, Didi, I want you to click a photo with us. And we were like, yes, why not? In fact, we would be honored. So let's remember that it's not money that buys happiness all the time. It's definitely the respect that would make one happy. And this was the longest ride that I had during this entire journey. And I never knew that my body would probably be capable of this. So we were cycling from West Bengal to Assam. We had to reach this place named Bongaigaon. And it was all forest area in between. It was 297 kilometers that we had to cycle. And we knew that there's no stopping, because till the time we do not reach our goal, we had to keep moving. And even if we stop, where are we going? So when you know what your goal is, it's something that's not going to allow you to sleep. So always keep moving. And trust me, this entire journey was only possible because of the kind of planning that we had. Because it took me almost 1 year to plan. It took this journey 183 days, 6 months. And the planning was all at micro level. Like, this day I need to cover 110 kilometers. I'm going to take 3 stops at 40 kilometers each and visit one government school each. And whom am I going to meet? I started contacting people through the Rotary organization. We started finding people on Facebook and social medias. So we started finalizing, getting the confirmations that, okay, when we go there, they are going to host us. So this way our stay and food was taken care. So the journey hardly cost us something, because the major expenditure we had was on stay on food. And what could be better than not staying in hotels and staying with families and knowing so many people? Because by now with this journey, I would have known at least 50,000 people and visited more than 40,000 school children. So yes, had a lot of friends across the country now. And every story had some challenge, and all, even in our life, we have so many breakdowns, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical. And we should be proud about all these breakdowns, because only when you get challenges, that's when you get an opportunity to probably rise out of that challenge, take a step forward, come forward and tell that, hey, I had this challenge in my life and I was able to overcome it. in a day we used to get at least 2 to 4 punctures, and despite of putting all the anti-puncture lining, we used to get punctures, and we had to fix it ourselves. Of course, we are losing time, we are losing our energy, but then, as I said, it gave us an opportunity to get much more stronger. Jaisa Des Vaisa Base, the connections that I made on Everest had come back alive. In 2010, when I had met a friend of mine from Jamshedpur, he was from the Sikh community. And when I told him, when I come to visit you in Jamshedpur one fine day, I'm going to wear a turban to respect you, in order to respect you and the valor of all your community. And in 2017, when I finally was going there on bicycle, that was after 7 years, I did go like this. And the honor and respect I got from him was amazing. There were more than 25 to 40 bikes, I suppose, on Bullet, who actually escorted us in entire city of Jamshedpur. And when I was in Maharashtra, I cycled wearing Nawari sari. And one funny thing, what we can see is I'm not wearing shoes, I'm wearing sandals. This is something that I picked up from Uttar Pradesh. Because when we were cycling in Uttar Pradesh, we saw that so many of these farmers, when after their probably the farming course, they were going back home, they used to cycle wearing sandals or chappals. So in order to respect them, the next day I started using sandals. And after that, I've only been using sandal because I found it so comfortable, and shoes were just off the track. So sometimes even the local hacks started helping, because wearing the shoes the entire day, the legs were trapped, the comfort was not there, and there was no breathability. But yes, we learned from the cultures and we started respecting cultures. This being the entire main highlight of the place, school visits. So the school visits was something that really made me very emotional at times, because these little girls, these little boys, these small kids, when you tell, even when you just tell them by going on cycle, they feel that you are aliens coming on a bicycle wearing those colorful fancy costumes with a helmet, and they just like want to spend some time with you. And in fact, when I told them that you should also probably get into some sports, you should also complete your education, you should be more independent and strong, and you should know more about life. And one of the girl came forward and told me that, Didi, one day I'm going to break your cycling record. And that made me very happy, because I knew that, okay, maybe if I'm meeting thousands of them, I may not be probably successful in inspiring thousands of them, but at least one of them would get inspired. And even if that one happens, my entire purpose of doing this uh, tour would probably be successful. And some of the teachers, in fact, even have been calling me and sometimes and sharing stories that this is the progress that they've been getting. The children are doing great, they are studying, or one of them getting into higher education, because generally they just stop after their 10th grade or their 12th grade. But they're considering higher educations, because the schools also sometimes do not have provisions for higher education. So it's so many things that was happening. In fact, when we went to Deoria, you can see the police down there, and they just, one of the police, while he was patrolling, he just got to know that we are entering the town and we are doing this cause. And Deoria that time was very crowded, and with so many people around there. So that's when the police came again. They made a convoy for us, and in the busy street, we were still cycling at the speed of 25-30 kilometers per hour, because they were able to make that pathway for us. And this was only because our intentions were clear and the purpose that we had to serve for. Finally, the journey after 6 months, that is 183 days, had come to an end. And it became a Guinness World Record, because we were successful enough in cycling for covering 18 states, 5 union territories in 183 days, covering more than 400 schools. Ideally, we covered a distance of 25,000 kilometers, but then Guinness had certain guidelines that the same route could not be repeated. And a lot of times we had to come back on the same route, so which made it 19,400. And had I not broken my leg, I wouldn't have known what my abilities are. It took this injury, which was my turning point. Probably, even if I would have just summited Everest, and if I would have broken my leg, I would have just thought, okay, I've done a lot of things in life. But these failures of mine have always pushed me forward to go and do something extraordinary, to step out of the box, and to explore and explode, rather, I would say, the potentials that a human body could even have. And when this happened, finally, after my ride, the ride got completed in April, and then in October, I had the same injury again. The same ligament snapped out again, and this time it was more difficult because having the surgery once is fine, but having it for the second time, your muscles, your tissues, there was so much of disturbance. But again, as always, I was happy and I was wondering, okay, after the first injury, I was able to do this. I don't know what I would be able to do after my second injury. And yes, I can now say what I did after my second injury, because in the past 1 month I've been cycling a lot, because earlier, even when I was cycling, my knees were still not stable. But after the second injury, I've in fact bounced back much more stronger. Of course, the recovery this time was very slow because of COVID, because I had my surgery in December, and Jan COVID started kicking up, because of which I could not probably even do my basic physiotherapy, since I was stranded home in Bangalore with my broken leg. And if you see, both my legs got operated this time, because though the same ligament snapped out, to insert a new ligament, they had to pull a muscle out from my other leg and then put it back in. So that's why for me to walk on both the leg got very difficult. But this month I cycled, okay, let's say since November, I was trying to planning to finish this series on bicycle, which is called a Super Randonneurs. It is by Audax India, and Audax is a body of Audax France. And this series is where you complete 200 kilometers in about 12 hours, then 300 kilometers in 22 hours, and 400 kilometers in 27 hours, and 600 kilometers within 40 hours. So this is the self-supported ride, where you're not supposed to take support of any motorized vehicle. You're supposed to carry your own gear. If there are punctures, you fix it yourself. You carry your own food supplies. So this style, in fact, we're supposed to complete it within a year. And I'm glad that I could complete this entire series in 48 days, wherein I completed the 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers, and 600 kilometers. And this, in fact, has been my dream since 2017. After 4 years, if I could do this again with a broken leg, I'm sure we should realize that it is only persistence that can change your extraordinary failure into an extraordinary achievement. So never be stopped by anything. With this entire journey of my life, a lot of things have been unplanned, but whenever they've been unplanned, I've only taken it as and appreciated it probably in a way that has only motivated me to do something more. And yesterday, then we again cycled to one of the orphanage to speak to children over here. And it's covered in Bangalore Mirror today. So, I mean, we have a lot of potential. And whatever we are doing, especially we sitting at a phase where, at a place or standard where we can at least help one person in a day, maybe not financially, but at least with some knowledge, because wisdom is the most expensive product you could ever have. Let's try to help people, because not for ourselves, but for them. And when you do it for them, trust me, only thing that you're getting back is happiness, and you're inspiring yourself. So let's step out of our comfort zone. It's time that we start seeing our failures and give them a different shape, because since childhood, we've always been taught that opposite of black is white, opposite of love is hate, opposite of success is failure. I will not agree to that, because success and failure are not opposite. Failure is a part of success, and this is exactly what we need to start even teaching our children, the youth, because nowadays the youth has been so much restless. They do not have patience, and getting distracted with all the nuisance. In fact, so much of addictive cases, because parents probably are not able to give time to children, and there's so many things happening in and around. So it's time that we step out of our comfort zone now, because these life skills also help us in our professional life. Because for any businesses that we all run, it's important that the human is respected first. and human will not be respected by just giving them some bonus or just by an email of appreciation. It is the human values that we can respect, and only when we start to learn taking care of humans and by knowing and by being more down to earth, that's when they are going to respect us back, and that's how our performance is also going to get affected. So this was my short story of how my failure actually motivated me to step forward in life, and I hope um, it added some value to your life. Even if it makes a little difference, I would be glad. And if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot. I'm all ears now.
Yeah, wow. Thank you so much. I am still having the goosebumps. I don't know how many of us are feeling the same way, but yeah, of course, of course, yeah. So Bhagyashree, when I said that we wanted this to be, take this session to greater heights, I think we've already touched 16,000 meters now. We're no longer at 8,000 meters now, so we're already there.
Plus
So,
the 20,000 on bicycle.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean that's really really amazing, and we were so hooked to what you were saying and the way you have done it. That's really really remarkable. And one word wherein you have put a lot of emphasis is persistence, right? So I think you have been very very persistent, and that's why you could do so much. So, obviously, I think everybody would have a lot of questions. I have, few questions for you, and we'll start with that. In the meantime, I request everybody to, in case you want to switch on your cameras, as good as, we can be here in person, and raise your hands in case you want to ask any question, so that, we can make the most of it. So, Bhagyashree, usually people are good with one sport, but you have done so much. So, what is the motivation behind it? Why, as we say, what was the why behind it?
The why behind it is my mother. Because she's never been an athlete, and trust me, my mom is the laziest person on this planet you could ever feel. You give her 24 hours, she would sleep the entire day and eat the entire day, and that's the beauty of my mother. But yes, she's always she saw Olympics when she was pregnant, and she always thought that, okay, when my daughter grows up, or when my child grows up, I want him or her to run like this. So every time there was any event coming up in school, whether it was box cricket or hockey or basketball, anything, she always just started registering me. And in fact, I really thank her for doing this, because when she started doing this, I realized that there are so many things to explore in life. So even now, like, I've done rifle shooting, I've done like so many, I think I know at least 20 different sports. And especially my injuries also, first being my mom, second being my injuries, because one injury has put me to another sport. Like when I was into hurdles. In fact, I was even a part of Youth Commonwealth Games, which are like the pre-trials to Commonwealth. And then during monsoon it was difficult because the grounds were wet, so we had to do it on concrete. It led to an injury. So from hurdles I had to switch to long distance running. From long distance running, after my leg, I had to switch to cycling. So this transition kept happening. But apart from that also, I've always been a person who loves to experiment with a lot of things. So if there's anything new, I would generally, people say, oh, I don't know this sport, I would not do it. But I've not been like that. I was like, hey, this is something new, let's try it. So I experiment a lot. I
Right.
fail a lot, and I learn a lot.
Right. That's very very beautiful, and you talked a lot about failures as well. And as you rightly mentioned, failure is just part of the success. It's part of the journey. I mean, we put a lot of emphasis on success, and failure is just seen as something you failed as a person. So, how has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for later success, or do you have a favorite failure of yours?
Oh, the mountain failure was the most expensive failure, because not once, I attempted twice and lost 30 lakh rupees each time. So
Okay.
it was about 60 lakhs that I lost. And we have a very small house in Mumbai. It's about 225 square feet. And a lot of people are like, hey, you could have got a bigger house instead of spending 60 lakhs there. But probably staying in a bigger house wouldn't have made me the person that I am today, or wouldn't have given me the happiness that I am today. So, of course, mountains have been the biggest failures. But now, all the failures that I've had, okay, one major jhatka that I got as a child was when I was in my seventh grade. Um, where I flunked in my seventh grade. But till then, I was an average student. But when I failed in 7th grade, I saw my mom cry for the first time because of me. And then I was like, okay, I'm never going to do anything which is going to make my mother cry. I'm just going to make her feel proud. After that, the same 7th grade, when I reappeared the next year, I've always been a topper after that. Since then till now, in my schools and my colleges, even in my university uh, graduation times, I've always been a topper in university. I've always stepped out of the box. I've been an extraordinary student after my 7th grade. So yes, that one failure changed me, and it just made me aspire to a lot of things. In fact, I even started my sports when I was in my 9th grade. Until then, I was not into any sports.
Wow, that's really great. Yeah, I think a lot of people have questions. One last one, and maybe another one. I'll come after that. So since all of us are entrepreneurs here from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, in fact, I would say. So if you have to advise or one thing which we can take from your life journey so far, it's still long way to go. I'm sure you'll continue to surprise yourself as well as us. So what is that one thing which an entrepreneur can take home and implement that in his personal or professional life?
Okay, I probably have two to share instead of one.
Even better, yeah.
So one, coming from the business perspective, especially entrepreneurs have a lot of ideas that are coming up, and always the idea is accompanied with a small doubt whether this would work or this would not work. So never worry about those doubts, because let's always remember that fear is temporary and regret is forever. So the fear, probably when you're probably experimenting with an idea or trying to have a go ahead with that idea, you may still have a little doubt, but it's okay, give it a try. Even if you fail, you will at least not regret that, okay, I think I should have tried that earlier. So that is one. Second, being a psychologist, I'm more on the human side. Always be very empathetic and humble, because as I said, the more you start respecting human, the more you will start gaining in terms of performance also from your let's say employees or staff members or your colleagues or your co-workers. So these two things, fear is temporary and regret is forever. So always go for it and be empathetic and humble.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to make a note of it, and I'm definitely going to publish it. So I have one more question, but I'll keep it for the last. We'll open it for all our members and guests as well. So yeah, of course, as I can see, Preeti will start from you.
I would rather go after Sanjeev Khanna Saab, because
Raise the hand first.
yeah.
Okay. Sure, Dr. Khanna, please.
Thank you very much, Preet. I don't have any questions, to be honest, because it's only the admiration, and I just wanted to salute her perseverance. I think that is what earlier when I was speaking, I was saying that some people are blessed with this kind of perseverance, which not all of us have. So I think that is where probably that focus, that determination, that perseverance counts at the end of the day. And coming back again and again, rather bouncing back again and again with that kind of determination is really appreciable. So salute to you, appreciations and respects. God bless.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Hanji Preeti, please, over to you.
One word I would start, Bhagyashree: thrilled. We all are thrilled. Last 90 meetings, this is the first meeting that I have not missed even a single word. And one thing is there, that once somebody is athlete, he's or she's athlete for the life. I'm also an athlete. I run another part of BANC. Our club is BANC. You can see Business and Networking Club, where we started its runners club. Then we had to change it. It's a bankable walks, actually, because people were not that thrilled. But now I believe this would have given current to so many people. We all are out of the 45 people, at least 30 who are now started walking or running, because we keep doing that, and that's the wonderful thing. And I would like to say, when you finished, you said this was my short story. It was a long way of a short story. You would have given the shortest way to this long story. That's very great thing you have done. And when you achieve something, people will respect. But people inspire from you. That is the best thing in the life, I think. And that is the wonderful thing you have done to our people also. And what I was doing, I was wearing my sports shoes when I was listening to you. Thank you so much. Inspiring again. Yes, we sometimes doubt ourselves when we get fail, but it's keep giving you inspirations. But I believe now we have to break few legs to start actually.
I hope not, but probably without that also, if you could manage, it would be great.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Navneet, introducing Bhagyashree to the club. It will make my journey very easy to actually push people to walk and run, actually. Thank you so much.
And definitely, in fact, the walk and run that you're mentioning about, we all should get into some sort of activity early morning, because of course it's all scientific. The endorphins, the hormones get released, which keeps you happy the entire day, which keeps you energetic the entire day, and that has a direct impact on your performance. Like
yes, there is no doubt about it. Yes, I'm a marathon runner. I have already run 10 marathons, and I believe now my people will also join me from our BANC team. We would run with the BANC's t-shirt this time.
Sure. I would also join in for probably the next marathon. We all would probably be running together.
That would be great.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Navneet, you want to go ahead? Amit will come to you after that.
So I will not say, but I will simply stand and then salute. I mean, it's just an awesome session, and भाग्यश्री से बात करके जितना मेरी तो इंटरेक्शन कभी होती है, and मेरे को इतना डिटेल में भी नहीं पता था obviously. मतलब it's a super awesome. I'm speechless actually. मेरे को goosebumps आ रहे हैं कि how she has done such achievements, and क्या scenario रहा होगा mountains पे जब बर्फ गिर रही है and she is there. बाप रे, मतलब बाप रे is the right word actually, कि आप feel करते हो ना कि क्या excitement और क्या thrill रहता होगा. भाग्यश्री, no questions, but मतलब mind में ना वो चल रहा है कि क्या हो सकता है. Seriously salute.
Thank you for calling me here, Navneet, because
I'm very thankful that you came here. I'm very thankful that you came here, and you can see the smile on everyone's face, that how much thrilled they are.
Yeah, right.
My interaction, in fact, with Navneet has been very limited about probably ordering some medals for decathlon. Those are the only interactions we've had, but I'm glad that this interaction could open up so much possibilities and acquaintances for all.
For sure.
And Navneet, I think now you have to make a very special trophy for Bhagyashree from BANC for from all of us. And,
yes.
Yeah. So that's that is a champion in that. Yeah, Amit, you want to go ahead, please?
हाँ जी, actually भाग्यश्री, मेरी पोजीशन इस समय ये है कि जब मैं बैंक की मीटिंग्स में जसप्रीत ने फर्स्ट टाइम मुझे इंट्रोड्यूस किया था, और जो मेरे अंदर जो धुक हो रही थी, मैं डेफिनेटली आज वही महसूस कर रहा हूँ इस समय. मैं मतलब कोई भी मुझे ये ना ले कि मैं नकली कोई एक्टिंग कर रहा हूँ कुछ, राइटली सो. एंड मैं आपसे क्वेश्चन जो करना चाह रहा हूँ वो ये है कि जिस पोजीशन के अंदर जब आप को फेलियर का सामना करना पड़ा है, या आपको चोट आई है, या जहाँ पे लोग एक दूसरों से उम्मीद करते हैं कि कोई आके सहारा दे, उस पोजीशंस में आपने एक अकेला रहना पसंद किया हैगा, और अपने आप को इतना ज्यादा मोटिवेट रखा है, और दैट टू कि अपने आपकी मदर को भी आपने 5 मिनट के लिए अलाउ किया, अपने फ्रेंड्स को भी आपने जस्ट अलाउ नहीं किया कि कोई मेरे पास ना आए, और उसके अंदर भी आप डाउन नहीं हुए, वहां से आप निकल करके इतने आप आए कि उस चीज को आप मतलब उससे मोटिवेटेड हुए. तो उसके पीछे जो थॉट थी वो क्या थी, मैं जस्ट वो जानना चाहूंगा प्लीज.
जी, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ आप ही इमेजिन कीजिए, जो एक व्यक्ति जो आपके बहुत ही करीब हो, एंड उसको अगर थोड़ी सी भी चोट आती है, इवन इफ दैट पर्सन इज स्ट्रॉन्ग, आपको बहुत बुरा लगता है. एंड इमेजिन मेरी पैर की ये कंडीशन देखकर अगर हॉस्पिटल में मेरी मॉम, मेरी ग्रैंड मॉम वहां पर अगर मेरे लिए रुकते हैं, उनको बहुत बुरा लगेगा. एंड लाइक इवन इफ आई एम स्ट्रॉन्ग, देख के उनको अंदर ही अंदर वो आई डोंट नो, वो थोड़ी डिस्कम्फर्ट रहेगी, या उन्हें थोड़ा बुरा लगेगा, अरे यार बेचारी को कितना लगा है, कितना दर्द हो रहा होगा, बिकॉज दे लव अस सो मच, दे केयर फॉर अस सो मच. So I did not want them to see that part of me. Plus, definitely the pain was a lot. At times, even if I'm smiling, because of the pain, मेरी आंखों से आंसू आते थे because the pain was unbearable. And I was put on the liquid IV painkillers and all because it was a lot. But वही जब मैं mom dad से या मेरी नानी से phone पे बात करती थी, I used to be very lively and they know that I'm fine. So this was the entire journey. So after 7 days surgery के बाद जब मैं वापस घर गई, I was slightly better and I was happy. I had managed with the pain now. So they know that, okay, she's doing good. So because of me, I do not want anybody to get worried in their life. अगर मुझे लग रहा है कि किसी व्यक्ति को शायद मेरी वजह से परेशानी हो रही है, then I'm like that bold enough to take a step back, thinking that okay, it's good for them and me. So that was the main thought process कि मैं नहीं चाहती थी कि they should see me suffer or anything, and उसके वजह से उनका मोरल भी डाउन होगा और मेरा मोरल भी डाउन होगा. So that was the thing. But yes, they were always, now my mom is never worried because even when I went to Everest, I was just 18 years old. And I flew all the way from here to Nepal by myself, climbing myself alone. So now my mom never worries. अगर मैं मम्मी को बोलती भी हूँ कि मुझे कहीं पर जाना है, she is so used to it. Her only rule is at night, give me one call saying that you're safe, then I'll be fine. So all this, parents also have conditioned now, and the main thing is because they trust. If I never hide anything from my parents.
तो सबसे जरूरी है जी, ट्रस्ट. जहाँ पे ट्रस्ट है वहाँ पे मतलब समुंदर पार हो जाते हैं. ट्रस्ट बिल्ड करना बहुत बड़ा काम है.
Yeah, क्योंकि मैं मेरे mom dad के साथ I'm not sure, probably if I get the chance next time I'll share a video. But if you see me, my rapport with my mom and dad, they're not my parents, they're my friends. Like literally हम कैसे दोस्तों के साथ अरे वगैरह करके बात करते हैं, that's the way I speak to my dad, that's the way I speak to my mom. If I speak to them with respect, they are just shocked कि ये हमारी बेटी है क्या, like that.
That's the kind of friend I also have. But my son, he's 16 and he's just like that only.
And for everybody here, I'm sure it's important that we be like that in life. We try to be more friends rather than being parents, because आज की जो generation है वो दोस्तों की ज़्यादा सुनती है और parents की कम सुनती है. So be a friend to them. It was a very good way of upbringing, because मैं भी जब college में professor थी, I was never a teacher to them. I was always a friend to them. That is the reason why जैसे college का हम जो gate cross करते थे, my students used to address me, ma'am, used to call me as Bags or Bhagya outside the college.
Right.
Right.
So just last is जसप्रीत, मैं आपको भी थैंक यू कहना चाहूंगा कि आपने हम लोगों को एक इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे ला करके एज अ फ्रेंड इतना एकदम से खुला कर दिया है, खुला छोड़ दिया है कि हम अपने दिल की बातें आराम से कर पा रहे हैं. थैंक यू सो मच जसप्रीत.
Thank you Amit, thank you. Yeah, Sandeep.
Hi Bhagyashree, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
मैं आपको थोड़ा सा आज अपनी मॉर्निंग की कहानी बताता हूँ. मैं पूरी रात सोया नहीं हूँ ड्यू टू सम अर्जेंट वर्क, ऑडिट का कुछ काम चल रहा था उस वजह से. बट इस मीटिंग के बाद में मतलब वो रात की जो थकावट जो लग रहा था ना, मतलब नींद नहीं आई है, सादा सोया नहीं, तो जो बॉडी में एक अलग से ईचिंग थी वो खत्म हो गई है. दूसरा, मैं आपसे छोटा सा क्वेश्चन करना चाहूंगा. जैसे आपने बताया जब आपने फर्स्ट टाइम आपने जो क्लेमिंग स्टार्ट की, तो आपने जो फंड इकट्ठा किया था वो कई बहुत सारे लोगों के कंट्रीब्यूशन से इकट्ठा हुआ था. जब आपने क्लेमिंग स्टार्ट की, कई बार क्या होता है कि हम जब कोई चीज ऐसा बहुत सारा स्टेक लगा होता है हमारे पीछे, तो हम कोई काम स्टार्ट करते हैं, हमको एक फियर होता है कि यार अगर हम इसको नहीं कर पाए तो पीछे क्या रिप्लाई करेंगे. तो एक तरह से प्रेशर होता है. उसको कैसे आपने हैंडल किया अपने उसके लिए?
जी, डेफिनेटली इट वाज आल्सो लाइक अ बिजनेस ओनली, जहाँ पे लोगों ने मुझ में इन्वेस्ट किया था और प्रोजेक्ट फेल हो गया, आप ऐसे बोल सकते हो, या प्रोजेक्ट सक्सेसफुल नहीं हुआ या कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ. इट्स मोर ऑफ लाइक यू पेइंग फॉर अ कंस्ट्रक्शन बिल्डिंग एंड द बिल्डिंग इज नॉट कंस्ट्रक्टेड. बट ऑफ कोर्स वही एक ब्यूटी थी, बिकॉज व्हेन पीपल सपोर्टेड मी, दे डिड नॉट वांट एनीथिंग बैक. उनको बस यही इरादा था कि किसी का एक सपना है, लेट अस ट्राई टू बी अ स्मॉल पार्ट ऑफ इट. यही उनका ये था. बट ऑफ कोर्स व्हेन आई केम बैक, आई डिड राइट अ लेटर टू ऑल ऑफ देम, थैंकिंग देम, टेलिंग देम दैट आई कुडंट कंप्लीट इट. एंड उसमें से एक रिस्पॉन्स जो मुझे आया था, उसमें लिखा था सर सलामत पगड़ी 50. So we are glad that you're back alive. Now that you're back alive, you can even climb the mountains 50 times. So पगड़ी आप तभी पहन सकते हो जब आपका सर है. And that one line where I just got sir salamat pagdi 50 really did not make me feel bad about me not summiting the mountain. or I've taken it in a positive way after that, that mountain is always there and I can always climb the mountain, but for that I will have to be alive.
Oh, that's super. That's super. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks. That's another one for sharing, Bhagyashree. So again, that goes into my brain tattoo, as I really call it. Yeah. Ravinder ji, over to you, please.
Hi, Bhagyashree. Thank you so much. It was very, very inspiring session. In fact, everybody is so inspired. And in fact, I wanted to say something like, even I am a sportsman. Like I used to be a national level kabaddi player 40 years back, 1980. So, but my learning from today's session is that you need to be temperamentally or mentally more stronger. That's much more important than being physically strong. If you are physically strong, that might last few years. But if you are not mentally strong, even I had some challenges. So from today's learning, I'm so inspired and about perseverance and those whatever you taught us today. Thank you so much, Will.
Thank you, Raviji. Yes, it's very important that we step out of our comfort zone because it's just this that plays the entire game.
Yeah, actually, it's not about comfort zone only, but maybe it's part of the training or whatever. I don't know. I don't understand, but I have an anxious nature. So that due to that, I had lots of challenges. But maybe, hats off to your mother and grandmother, like they give you that kind of training, or maybe it was naturally built in your system. So, but that's what
upbringing. It is definitely upbringing. I was not this kind of a person before.
No. It's very nice, very inspiring to hear that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ravinder ji. Thank you everybody for asking questions.
I would like to take one privilege again.
One more shot. Yeah. Please
I think we should have one more session with Bhagyashree for all our children, for the bank members, if Bhagyashree will allow, and she can get some time.
Why not? It would be my pleasure.
I would have said every 6 months actually.
No, but apart from that, also as a psychologist, I do take sessions for children, not psychology per se, but more of like playing some games with them so that they learn about life virtues in a different way, and then narrating my story. I would be glad to do that.
Wow, then it's final that we'll do a session in maybe next month or so. We'll fix it up.
Yeah, Navneet, I'll leave that to you to
coordinate. Sure.
Of course, we will definitely do that.
Thank you.
So anybody else, in case anybody wants to ask any other question?
Hi, Bhagyashree, this is Arun.
Yeah, Arun, I was just wondering that what happened.
No, I was just because it's everybody's overwhelmed, and like we have I've been just keenly listening to Bhagyashree, and when it comes to help others and when it comes to empower people, by default, I get goosebumps. I'm a different kind of person in terms of thinking about others. That's what my mind is always into. And I see that whatever you have given a message, you have lived your life, you have not accepted. That's the great message I can take away from this entire presentation, that you have lived it, you have not accepted what life had thrown at you. You said, no, I will lead it the way you wanted to lead it, and that is a very strong message. And being a girl, even I called my daughter, she's teenager, she's studying for college. I said, come, just listen, because I always, like them to listen these kind of things and try to implement even a small portion of that. It will help them, So now I just want to, say thank you so much for sharing a wonderful story and real stories with all of us. And we all enjoyed it very much. As Navneet ji said, like we would like you to come more, or even Preet said, and everyone wants that. And even bank can also think about having our children, like a lot of us have, teenagers, other people. One session we can keep for them, with the help of Bhagyashree. That may be another, great things for all of us to be part of that, But just, I hats off to you, and wish you very best going forward for any venture or anything you do in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Arun, for the kind words.
Thank you. Yeah, Sanjeev ji will take the last question now.
First of all, hats off to Bhagyashree, so inspiring, and I was listening to her consistently. My question is, whenever you are doing a new project, whether it is in your personal life or it is in your business, sometimes you get anxious. Anxiety घेर लेती है आपको, है ना, स्टार्टिंग में क्या होगा नहीं होगा करके, एंड कई बार वो क्या होता है, उससे आप जो आपकी चीजें सही चल रही होती है वो भी गड़बड़ हो जाती हैं
जी.
due to your anxiety. So is there any fixed formula or what sort of mindset you use on, क्योंकि आप भी उस डेफिनेटली हम ह्यूमन बीइंग सभी उसमें कभी ना कभी आते हैं उस स्फीयर में, तो उसमें आप क्या, मतलब आपका क्या एटीट्यूड रहता है?
Very important perspective. This is all because of our thinking, especially positive thinking is something that plays a very major role. एक एग्जाम्पल दूंगी आप सभी को पहले. अब सोचिए एक 4 साल का बच्चा है और उसको उसकी माँ जो है वो कह रही है कि ये जो ग्लास जार है पानी से भरा हुआ, ये दूसरे कॉर्नर में लेके जाना है. एंड वो इंस्ट्रक्शन इस तरीके से देती है कि देखो बेटा, ये जो कांच का जार है इसे उस टेबल पे रख देना, संभाल के ठीक से लेके जाना, तोड़ना मत, गिराना मत. और जब वो ऐसा इंस्ट्रक्शन देती है, वो बच्चा जैसा लेके जा रहा है, ही कीप सेइंग हिमसेल्फ, डोंट मेक इट फॉल, गिराना मत, गिराना मत, गिराना मत, गिराना मत, और वो गिर जाता है. क्यों? क्योंकि इंस्ट्रक्शन देते वक्त ही उसकी माँ ने उसको इंस्ट्रक्शन एक नेगेटिव वे में दिया था. Now imagine the same instruction, the mother telling him कि बेटा इस ग्लास जार को वहां पर संभाल के रख देना. So he takes it very carefully. And this 4-year-old kid is nothing but it is our mind. हमारा जो सबकॉन्शियस माइंड है ये ऐसे ही काम करता है. आप उसको जिस तरीके से इंस्ट्रक्शंस दोगे वो उस तरीके से काम करेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट्स से अभी कोई कॉलेज स्टूडेंट है, एक सब्जेक्ट उनके लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. लेट्स से मैथमेटिक्स इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर देम एंड इज लाइक, अरे यार मैं मैथ्स में फेल होने वाला हूँ, बिल्कुल मुझे, इट्स सच अ टफ सब्जेक्ट, आई कैन नॉट डू इट. Definitely you will fail. Why? Because you are giving that instruction indirectly to your subconscious mind कि tough subject है, तो fail होने वाला है. Instead, how about saying, अरे यार ये मैथ्स का सब्जेक्ट जो है ना ये बहुत टफ है, इस पे थोड़ा ज्यादा मेहनत करना पड़ेगा. You are giving a positive instruction. I'm not sure अगर आपने वो फाइनल देखा होगा बैडमिंटन का, ओलंपिक्स पीवी सिंधु और कैरोलिना मरीन के बीच में जो हुआ था. वहां पर भी even when Carolina Marin lost every single point, she kept telling herself, no, it's fine, you can do it. So that one voice of yours should always be with you, जो आपको positive input दे. अगर आप कोई मैराथन भी भाग रहे हो या आप रनिंग कर रहे हो and you're tired and you're just like stopping, बाहर से कोई भी आपको cheer कर दे, come on, run, 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 you again start running. So why do you need somebody else to motivate you when you can motivate yourself? So a lot of times do a lot of self-talk. क्योंकि do a lot of self-talk, tell yourself, yes, this is going to be challenging, it is not going to be easy, and I'm going to give my best in it. So always I tell everybody, in fact all my students also, that one exercise I do with them, I will probably do with you also. So when I say 1, 2, 3, I want all of you to clap 1, 2, 3 thrice after that and say, I am a winner. Ready?
Yeah. So guys, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. I am a winner.
I'm a winner.
Yeah.
So this is something I tell all my students. In fact, in all my lectures, middle of the lecture, I'll randomly start saying 1, 2, 3, and they all clap and say that I am a winner. Because we all should know that we all are winners. We all have our own struggles. And when I say struggles, सुबह 6 बजे उठना या 9 बजे उठना भी एक struggle है. अगर आप successfully, अगर आप 9 बजे उठ नहीं पाते हो, but one day that you finally get up at 9, appreciate yourself, you are a winner. Because even that small battle of laziness that you had, you're fighting. So always keep telling yourself that you are a winner. And if anybody tells you, अरे यार कुछ नहीं किया तूने जिंदगी में, at least tell them, at least Bhagyashree is there who believes that I am a winner. Because today, all of us, we have been at this part. We all have had our failures, our learnings, our life lessons, our experiences, as somebody said. Even Gurpreet ji said that failure is a wrong word. It's more of experiences that has taken us. Yes, definitely. And at some point, we experiencing this and probably showing that, yes, I have proved it right. Please do it. So that one voice, that is yourself, that अंदर से जो motivation आता है, always keep doing positive talks. Never do any negative talks. खुद को हमेशा positive input देते रहिए.
Okay, generally what I do is I can suggest something. to others also. In that case, I generally, what I do is that I used to remember all the achievements I have done when I am anxious. कि मैंने ये किया हुआ है. अगर मैंने ये किया हुआ है तो मैं ये कर सकता हूँ आगे भी.
That's
So
exactly what
that's one way.
अगर मैं टूटे हुए टांग के साथ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड बना सकती तो आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो यार.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So inspiring.
Right. Great. Thank you. I think that is one other learning which we can take back home. Yeah, Amit, you want to quickly wrap up so that we can wrap up. Yeah.
अगर आप पहले complete करना चाहते हो, just please go ahead.
I'm just wrapping it up. We're already past our time, and just respect Bhagyashree's time as well. So yes, if you want to add something quickly.
Okay. मैं just ये add करना चाह रहा था कि आज की मीटिंग इतनी ज़्यादा fruitful है कि इसके बाद हम लोग जब सारे मिलेंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि एक नए आपस में नए रूप में मिलेंगे, बहुत ज़्यादा energized मिलेंगे, बहुत ज़्यादा connected मिलेंगे.
Wow, that's great. Absolutely.
सर मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि आज के बाद ना just give the blast to everyone. ठीक है ना?
Yeah, definitely, sir, definitely.
Just give the new inspirations to all of us.
Thank you so much, Bhagyashree.
Great. Thank you, Bhagyashree. So that's why we call these talks as bankable talks, talks you can bank upon. And although we are a refer for profit, the idea is to monetize the network. But this is something which is far beyond monetization. This is something when there is a transformation which happens inside your body. No amount of money, no amount of wealth can justify that, can buy that. So I think that is what has happened today, which is really makes me very, very happy. And again, thank you so much for being here with us today, Bhagyashree. I would like to take a picture with all of you in case you want to quickly switch on your cameras. Yeah, great, thank you. So I'll just do a little reshuffle and yeah. Okay, going, yeah. Okay, great. Yes, thank you, Bhagyashree. Again, any parting words, anything which you want to share? Again, take so that members can take away in 2022. That's what going to start a new inning, I guess, each one of us.
I'm sure that 2021 has given us a lot of lessons to bounce back in 2022.
Yeah.
But yes, with the today's interaction that I had with all of you, I really feel blessed to have got this opportunity. Because with each one of you sharing your experiences, that's exactly what my purpose is in life. In fact, the reason why I also left my psychology teaching job and switched to decathlon was because of mountaineering. And this major career change of mine was because one of my friend lost all of his fingers due to frostbite because he was not wearing the right gear. That's why I decided कि मुझे सबकी मदद करनी है. I want to help people pick up the right gear, and I started working for decathlon. So I'm following my passion. Of course, my career is there with me, but I'm working for my passion. So please work for your passion. अगर आप आपके काम को as a job देखोगे, वो कभी पूरा नहीं होगा. Look at it as a passion because it's going to definitely help you more. And if you all still have any questions, I've dropped in my contact details in the chat box. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll be glad to probably assist. And yes, thank you, Jaspreet and Navneet ji, for probably running the show, and all the members of BANC because we all are change makers over here. And I'm sure we all are definitely going to change and aspire a lot of more people. And yes, just a small request. In a week, at least try to help one person, probably in terms of food or someone in needy, especially now that winters are also getting cold. Probably we have more opportunities to help people. So have that little helpful nature of yours, have that altruistic personality of yours, which will always help you be a better person. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining today's session. Have a lovely weekend. Have a great Christmas. Let's make a great New Year as well. So thank you. Keep banking on each other. Stay bankable. That's always I say. Thank you, Bhagyashree. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Bhagyashree. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jaspreet.
Thank you.